21 masterclasses in new consciousness, new ways of thinking, being and doing for the new you. Pioneering thinkers from countries right around the world. Hello, Om Shanti, and thank you for joining us for today's masterclass, one of 21 masterclasses in new consciousness. It's a series that is exploring new ways of thinking and being and doing in today's rapidly changing world. Now, we're all of us trying to adhere to the current regulations that are there to protect our physical well-being, but are we also equally attentive to the spiritual laws that help us feel calm and safe and protected from within? We're going to be looking at the experience of yogis and meditators from right around the world as they share with us their tools for navigating these very challenging times. So today's theme is on creativity. And I know that one of the challenges for many people during this period of the coronavirus lockdown has been coping with working from home, coping with schooling children at home, trying to keep relationships together in a small confined space. And many people have had to come up with very creative ways and new and inventive ways of getting through this whole experience. So I'm hoping we'll get some fantastic tips from our couple who are both musically oriented, and they're from Hong Kong. I'll introduce you to them in just a few moments. Before I do though, let me just introduce you to the organisation that all our speakers are from. It's the Brahma World Spiritual University, which, as the name suggests, is a university for the spirit. It's a place to understand the self, to understand the soul. And there are teaching centres in around 110 countries right around the world. There's an active presence in even more countries than that. It's an organisation that was established in India in 1936 with a series of visions and teachings that came through the original founder, Brahma. And they're very much teachings that are geared specifically to this transition phase, this period of change that we're all going through. So they feel absolutely relevant to what we're all experiencing at the moment. Also, Brahma decided quite early on that he would keep the women in the front, which was very unusual in India at that time because women didn't even have any status in society at all, never mind being seen as spiritual religious leaders. And so as a result, the Brahma is the largest organisation of its kind to be led by women, which is a lovely aspect of the organisation. So as I said, today's topic, creative thinking, creative living. And really, if there's one word that you would use to describe our speakers today, it would be creative. And it's not just one speaker, it's a whole family that are joining us today, which is lovely because we've had so many programs with just one individual, and people might be thinking, well, it's fine if you're on your own, but what if you're in the hubbub of a daily family life? How is it possible to still practice meditation? Well, it is possible. So the mother of the family, Ayako Ichimaru, who is originally from Japan, is a master violinist, winning prizes as a concert violinist from a very young age, and going on to have a glittering career, travelling around the world and performing with her music. And she also teaches violin, and she aims to help her students find the path of discipline, confidence, and the joy of performing arts. Her husband is Harry Wong, and he's a children's TV presenter, which sounds really exciting. He uses his humour and his amazing skills as a magician to entertain both adults and children. And his current creative adventure is a TV show called Harry Good Neighbour, which has produced hundreds of episodes and is now in its 4th year. And we're also hoping a little later on to catch a glimpse of their 11-year-old son, Yuji, who I know is somewhere around. So welcome to you all, the family from Hong Kong. Hello.
Welcome. So nice to see you, Philippa. Wow.
So great to have you with us today and see your smiling faces all the way from Hong Kong. So Harry, tell us a little bit about your program. It sounds very intriguing. Harry Good Neighbour. What do you do exactly on your show?
Well, first of all, actually, my father was the first children TV presenter back in late 50s. And he kind of passed it on to me. And I've been doing children television since late 80s. So you can tell I'm not that young. I'm not as young as I look. But this particular episode, this particular program is very meaningful. It actually came about after we came to know Baba. We came to become really regular meditator, and we do yoga. And it was so interesting that there was almost like a voice saying that, Harry, we want you to go back to do some more family entertainment. And it's for the very first time that this so-called children's program, in fact, is bringing the whole family to watch it, because it's a primetime show, believe it or not. As you know, usually like Sesame Street and all these very famous children television shows usually will air during in the afternoons, right? But I actually talked to the television station, and I said, quite honestly, I think life is very different now. Kids actually are very busy. After their schools, they have a lot of activities and a lot of homework as well, if you happens to be in Asia. But it would be nice if we actually have a kind of entertainment for them, a regular entertainment where we recognize them, we hear the children's voice, and bring them in as a very important member of the family, right? And it's so exciting for us because it also gives us an opportunity to actually spread the love of Baba, and also give them a little bit of something that has been missing for a very long time, which is virtues such as tolerance, kindness. You can imagine what we are talking about, and peace, for example. So
when you say Baba, you're meaning the creative source, the light that you connect with in meditation that feels very much a part of your life. And this is something that you connected with since you came to the Brahma Kumaris, or have you always had a spiritual practice? Maybe I could put that question to Ayako.
Yeah.
Harry has been always the really, really devoted Christian, but I had no reason to believe, because, I believe on something that is protecting us, but I couldn't really put my foot on any religious group. And the first time both of us, actually as a family, we went into the meditation center of just this Brahma Kumaris, which is just like 300 meters away from our house.
Yes.
And we just walk in, and they said it's free of charge yoga class. So we thought, okay, maybe we can try,
It's free.
So we start taking course, and then from the first lesson, they told us that we are living being. We are not this body, but our real us, real me is the soul. We are soul.
And was that a new concept for you?
Very new concept. I knew we always talk about soul. Play the music with soul. Yeah, it's soulful. But what is soul? We didn't know. We didn't know it was the point of
We talk
life.
about it all the time, not really knowing what it is.
Yeah. So we didn't really know what it was, and they explained to us very clearly. So I thought, wow, I think I should really, really study this knowledge, because that time I had a lot of questions in my life, because Japan has, the big earthquake in 2011 and the tsunami, and people suffering, and I was always thinking, why? Everything was why? Why this? World is so violent, and why people are suffering, a lot of why. And this knowledge really helped me to understand why. So I have no more question. So really, I'm very, very thankful.
It seems like it was really meant to be, as your house was right opposite the meditation.
Yeah.
So someone up there knew what they were doing when you got the place where you're living at the moment. But I'm wondering how your lives have changed day to day since you've been practicing this meditation, and how your relationship with each other has also changed.
Two very interesting questions, really worth answering. The first one is, from outside, it doesn't look as if anything changed. But for people who actually knew Harry and Ayako, and when they see us now, they can see a new personality. So there's a lot of things actually It's not what is happening outside. Very much is something that has been changing from inside. For example, we do get up every morning at 4 o'clock, actually before 4 o'clock, for the morning meditation. And that actually is the biggest change to our whole lifestyle. Of course, the food has changed so much as well, because I used to be a really big meat eater. I could not imagine how you can live without eating meat. And now, actually, cut the long story short, is I cannot imagine how you can eat meat. Now, that actually only takes us a few years. But why? Just go back to Philippa, what you said before. This organization, also this spiritual organization, is led by all the female, all the mothers. So in fact, in our household, as you can see, we're Asians, Chinese, or Japanese. Mainly, usually, traditionally, the male is the boss. No, very different. If there is such a thing called boss, the leader is actually mommy.
So was that quite a big shift for you, Harry, beginning to see Ayako as someone in her own right, as a separate being from you, not as someone that you necessarily could influence how they did things?
That comes into your second question, which is our relationship. Because once you have a very dynamic relationship, which is more than friends, more than husband and wife, you actually now see each other as a soul, a beautiful soul. And that actually brings on a completely different meaning of relationship. And the kind of respect is starting from self-respect. Therefore, you understand how to expand that respect to others. Therefore, it is a totally different meaning altogether, because you will forego a lot of ego. And now I can actually start really seeing there's a lot of beauty, on this soul. Because also I recognize there's a big difference between male and female. Male actually are very good at doing one thing at a time, usually, yeah. But female, is very different. Ayako is extremely multitask. She's like that. The spider on the web, where anything move, this place move or that place move, everything, she can be very, very sensitive and knowing what to do immediately. Somehow I just forego of that. I have to be the boss, and what I'm saying, people have to follow. No, because both of us actually does not follow that either. Because now we have a totally different set of, I won't even say rules, just principles that we follow, and we feel that in that way we can totally feel peaceful and constantly being happy when we are following that lifestyle.
It's very interesting to hear you say that, because one of the features of this coronavirus lockdown has been the strain that it has put on relationships.
Right.
And we're hearing about divorces going up, about domestic violence. So clearly spending time and having to face each other has been a massive challenge. What advice would you have to someone who is really feeling that they're losing themselves in this physical closeness of their relationship?
To us, really seeing everyone as equal, and accept everyone that they have different personality, they have different life. Even within family, we have different karma and different mission. And we don't have to mix things together. We can do things together. We can eat, we can cook, we can do things together. But everybody's mission in life is different. So accepting what they are and what they have to do and respect others and respect myself. That's really, really helps the harmony in the family.
Yeah, we constantly hear that there's a social distancing, right? In fact, quite honestly, I think the only social distancing I have to be careful now is between me and the refrigerator.
Between you and who?
The refrigerator. Yeah, because we're constantly looking for things to eat. In fact, it's quite ironic. As you know, maybe in Hong Kong, people used to, or most people has a job, and we are very comfortable in having domestic helpers. And we have been having domestic helper ever since Yuji was born, which was 11 years ago. And it was only just before there was the outbreak of this pandemic, we decided that maybe, we should try not to have the helper. And just happened the helper actually said to us, I would like to leave. Actually, I would like to go back to Philippines. And at that time, for the very first time, this family of three, not only that we have to find ways to work with each other, but we actually have to find tasks for each other as well. And believe or not, it is the most wonderful thing that happened. Because now Yuji will actually naturally will go and wash all the dishes after every meal. And then Ayako and Harry will take turns to cook. And it's fantastic. We suddenly realize that life doesn't have to be very complicated to be happy. In fact, sometimes it's very complicated. And to be honest, when we actually have a professional job as an adult, sometimes ask ourselves honestly, do we actually are quite happy to actually have our own life and walk away from the family so that we can have some space, breathing space? We're saying that we're working very hard so that we can actually come back and give a better lifestyle to the family. But do we need that? Is it really what the kids want? Or actually the kids actually want something? Maybe the kids actually doesn't want a domestic helper to cook good food. Maybe he or she wants to see more of mom and dad. Maybe they don't want you to actually just spend money on the most expensive and the most well-known violin teacher, but they want you to actually have the patience to actually sit with them and to do just the practice, constant practice, So I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to go back to basics.
And
would you agree, Ayako, that in a way having less has given you more?
Actually, we have simplified our life ever since we start meditating, and it's coming to the point that it's quite simple now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think to keep ourselves happy is creativity. Keep the creativity going at home. Very little things. So we love the word of newness. We really love that. Anything new we want to try. Just little things that, now it's locked down. I don't have to, walk in the daytime. In the morning, maybe I'm a little bit freer. So I start waking up at 3 o'clock. That's newness. And I meditate a little bit longer. And also I have more time. So every day I try to cook one new dish. That's newness.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
lovely.
it's so interesting. Actually, she is just telling everyone now, but she never told me that. So it's not like Ayako came out and tell us, okay, I'm going to cook a new dish every day. She didn't say it. She just started doing it.
Yeah,
and then we realized, wait a minute, wow, we have this really yummy brownies yesterday, yeah? And today we have this really nice chocolate cake. Every day there is something new. Yeah,
No wonder you have a social distancing from your refrigerator with all that wonderful food in there.
Yeah, and also you see we're actually not wearing very tight jeans. We're quite happy. We're wearing sari or loose, Yeah.
But I wonder as well, both of you actually, whether you feel that your journey with the meditation has inspired your creativity. Have you noticed any change there?
No, first of all, I have always been believing that there are only two things in life. The first one is to survive, and the second one is to create. But what really is creativity? I think for the last 10, 20, 30 years, a lot of people think that when they're looking at something creative on their phone, it is creative. It's not. It's actually passive. We're actually taking some toxin. We're not actually giving out. We're just putting a lot of things inside. More is actually not more. Actually, when we have less, there is more. Because, for example, when we have just one carrot, one big carrot, how we are actually going to cook this carrot. Before it's like one carrot is not enough. Now we can actually chop it in 3 pieces, and every time, every day, I'm thinking of how to cut it different ways and make something out of it. Now that's creative. That actually is really creative. Meditation, what does it do? Meditation is saying that you are sitting there to be with yourself, to be with your inner self, and also, most importantly, is sooner or later, you will find that you are not alone. You are not alone. Actually, it is just you and with the supreme energy who is constantly giving us inspiration. And that flow of energy never stops. It's like charging and charging. Once you know that you are being charged every day, all you have to do is if you want something special, you do something special. And I think God is very fair. If there is something which is called God, He's going to be so fair that He's going to say, right, there is this thing, and everyone get the fair chance to take it. All you have to do is to get up every morning at 3:30. Can you do it? The thing is, can we really do it? For me, can we commit to it? And if we can, does it work? The first day, the first week, even the first month, maybe it doesn't happen every day. But once it starts happening, you realize, wow, you are getting something very special,
Yes.
very unique, very unique. And that something, is going to be good enough for me not just to cope, is to cope, is to actually looking forward to this very so-called very vulnerable life now. Oh, what is going to happen tomorrow? It's going to be so boring again, I can't go out. No, you're looking forward because you realize that there is still a lot of surprises waiting for us. And only because if we cannot travel outside, we travel inside.
Mm-hmm.
And inside is so interesting.
What have you noticed, Ayako, about Yuji, your 11-year-old son, in terms of the effect that this technology, the mobile devices, this young generation have got so much at their disposal? What effect do you see that having on kids today?
We cannot avoid because everything from the school is online. So they have to they have to use the computer. And what is important is that we have to encourage for their self-discipline. We cannot just take it away. That's what we believe. And of course, they have a lot of time. So they want to do things on the computer. But we have to encourage to really have something out there is more interesting.
Actually, in fact, I have a regular Facebook live show with all our good neighbors, and a lot of moms actually will call in as well as children. Now think about this. In fact, kids are really, really savvy with all the technology. They could be even much better than us. First of all, we ask them to go online because they have to go online to the Zoom lessons every day. And then most of the so-called homework are also online. So they are going online. But they can't go out. So what more exciting than actually going onto your computers, playing game, or even go on your social media? We have to understand that because we do that as well. What are we doing now? What are you watching? See, we're online as well. So there is no way of stopping it. Stopping is not right. That's why meditation is important. That's why the whole family, when we have one thing which is much more superior than how, it's not the vehicle, it's actually knowing what is right and what I want to do. Knowledge is important, we know. Happiness is important, and peace is very important as well. So if we know all these things are important, then the device is only a device. Do we still confiscate Yuji's phone? Yes, we do. Why? Because he's 11 years old. I'm trying my best to break all the rules and regulations, and finding ways because I'm mature. I don't want to be controlled. So you have to help. So I think there's a wonderful educationist, Diane Tillman. She has got some great books out and talking about how to really listen to your children, active listening, and also how to actually give your children discipline without emotions. Now, this is the thing.
It's not easy.
Well, we're going to be talking to Diane Tillman on a masterclass
Oh, you will?
in the future. So
wow,
make
I
sure you
missed
listen to that program.
She's
But
wonderful.
both of you, in a way, are connecting with young people. Ayako through teaching violin, and you through your children's TV shows.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that this generation, that their creativity is still intact? Or when you look back to your own childhoods, do you feel this young generation are actually being shortchanged a bit when it comes to connecting not only with their creativity, but connecting with themselves without the distraction of all this noise and
I
media?
think the type of creativity what we used to have, and what they have is totally different set. So we cannot compare because the time is different. So they have creativity, they have amazing skill on the computer, and they know so much because it is easy to access. And they can be creative, very, very creative, to come up with a lot of things. But it may not be the same as what we had before.
Yeah, creativity comes on very different levels. Ayako is trained as a classical musician, so creativity is like, okay, the notes are there, but how you creatively present and perform and interpret a piece of music, right? It's Mozart, but how come I like to hear Yo-Yo Ma's Mozart much more than Oyster or whatever. So it's very different. But now the tools are very different as well. So actually the kids can do so much online. There's a lot of technology. However, these are all still tools. What do we do with it is very important. And I think in this time, we all can feel that never before in history that everyone on this planet are on one thing together. And we all know that something is going to slow down. And we also know that the values of various things will be different when we come out of this pandemic. Now that is interesting. We have to think about the creativity then. And it's very clear, I would say, because I've never done that before. I have been doing children television since 80s, 90s, and then all the way, and also radio and things. What I can see very different is, actually our younger generation are very, very happy to accept something which is not just the how and what, but why. And actually, they're very easily understanding the spiritual side of things. Before science is here, spirituality is here. They don't match, they do not, but now they do. Science, spirituality can be one thing. In fact, you're asking me if we look into history. Let me tell you something, because I have to do some research for my children's show. Do you know that Isaac Newton, actually, when he was young, he got stuck inside because of the pandemic. He could not come out. So what he did, without the help of computer or books or anything, he came out with calculus. He was playing with the X and Y's. And he came out with something ingenious that we're all applying nowadays. So there is no stopping. It's actually, everyone is facing the same thing. If we only use the five senses, all we can create with is just the five senses. When we have spirituality, it's not just the six. We're opening up a completely different genre. Our life completely has a different meaning. Now we dare to say not more is more, but sometimes less is more, because the spirituality is in place. Now, isn't that fascinating?
I feel like I've come up with a new formula. Spirituality plus creativity equals genius.
Oh, that is
beautiful.
now that is really wonderful, Philippa. Yeah,
that's the feeling I'm getting as I talk to you, is that these two energies of spirituality and creativity are like the twin engines that are fueling your lives, and what you're creating from it is genius.
And do you know what you're saying, which is so important? What you're saying is, if we recognize this formula, everyone can be a genius now. All the parents, all the mom and dads out there, are you listening right now? Your kid can be a genius as well if you combine these two together. It's so true. And that's why it is so beautiful. That's why there is God's love. And that's why it is so fair. Because we're actually working with all these modalities, which actually is going to speak new language to us and new language to the new generation.
Well, we're talking a lot about the new generation. It would be lovely to meet this member of the new generation that has the good fortune to be parented by you. I don't know if he's around and you can just bring him in front of the camera for a few moments.
Okay, yeah, Yuji, can you magically appear?
Magic.
Okay, he's going to magically
Can make him appear?
Well, all we have to do is this. We have to wiggle our fingers like that. Okay? And we say, I am peace. Ready? Here we go. I am peace.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I wish I got a camera. I'd take a picture. That's perfect.
Just
Yuji,
you.
hello
We
to
just
you.
pause for you. That's your picture right there.
So, Yuji, you've been off school for quite a long time now. Have you had any moments of feeling bored, would you say?
Honestly.
Yes.
Good.
Definitely.
And what do you do when you feel that? How do you keep yourself active and creative?
Sometimes I go on my phone to search for new topics or go online to watch some videos of different things. I watch, and for some reason now I've been really getting into music creating, and I've been remixing a lot of songs lately.
Wonderful. So your mum and dad both play musical instruments. Do you learn any musical instruments yourself?
I play the violin.
You play violin. Yeah, wonderful. Fantastic.
Oh, do you want to play some?
No thanks. No thanks.
Play some Bach. Go on.
No.
Without really practicing.
No, I'm fine.
I've got another question for you, Yuji, because I know your mum and dad get up early and do meditation. And mum tells me that sometimes you will sit quietly and you're able to be still and do meditation with them. How do you find that?
It depends. It actually
In the evening.
in the evening I do meditation. In the morning, I will be trying to do this morning meditation. And since there's no quarantine, there's no school and stuff, and I have nothing to do apart from having lessons almost every day from tomorrow because my Easter holiday is going to be over soon. That's really sad. My Easter holidays. What a waste.
What is the difference? You don't have to go to school anyways.
I have classes.
Okay. So what is the evening meditation
Our-
experience?
Well, I've been experiencing different things, ideas streaming into my head, sometimes even questions for my math questions, and sometimes even ideas for like what kind of it's called what kind of musical inspirations do I get? Sometimes for my remixing, sometimes for like I'm writing a really silly song about being locked inside.
You also wrote a letter on behalf of Mother Earth to Yuji.
Yes, because it was part of like my homework for my spiritual well-being. I went to this magical mountain in India called Mount Abu, and there's this really magical summit on top of it, which is called the Baba's Rock.
Why do you say it's magical? Explain.
I think it's magical because whenever I go up there, I actually feel God's presence, and it's really easy to meditate when I'm up there.
Can you explain in words? I know it might be difficult. When you say God's presence, what does it mean?
I mean that I feel myself and God together.
How is God? Is God like what we normally sometimes we see in picture books, with white beard and a very kind old man? Or what do you mean by God?
God can be anything He wants you to see.
Okay.
Usually you can feel He's there even if you don't see Him. If He's there, you know He's there when you meditate generally and you're going deep enough, you actually feel He's there. And through my experience on Baba's Rock, I wrote a letter for my spiritual well-being, a letter from Mother Earth to me. explaining how dire the situation on Earth is and how much we need to help the Earth in recovering from this and helping all the people to recover from this huge pandemic thing. And it's going to be hard, but it's going to be a fun mission. And even if it's the end of the ride, it's been fun.
Thank you very much for speaking so much English.
That's absolutely wonderful. I tell you what, Harry, I think you've got the third generation TV presenter right there under your own roof.
Yeah,
I think so. He's a natural. He's a natural.
He is a natural.
He is.
But we are.
Yuji, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. It was really beautiful to hear such wisdom coming out of the mouth of an 11-year-old. Really, it's been very moving, actually, to hear what you've had to say about all of this. What we thought we'd do next, if it's all right with all of you, is rather than just talking about meditation, is that we'll move into a little meditation sequence. And it might be nice for you to bring in some of your musical instruments and guide us with your own thoughts as you meditate. And I know, Ayako, you were going to play a piece for us first of all that was very much inspired by your own meditation, wasn't it?
Yes, actually it was not even the meditation, it was through the experience of God touching my heart. And just the tears and tears of washing all my, dirt, and like I had really incredible experience, and I wanted to write about it, but I thought, I'm a musician, so why don't I write the music to express that amazing experience? So that
Mom,
this
enough
piece
talk. Here's your violin.
is called Awakening.
Awakening. Thank you.
Yes. So I will change the setup.
That was so beautiful. Awakening. It really did awaken something very deep within. I could feel the spirit soaring there. Thank you so much for playing. Very lovely. And now you could just maybe talk us into one of your experiences of meditation in the way that you like to do it.
Okay.
So I think with the experience of making music that we can tell when we have the spirituality in the art is very different. Yeah, we're actually really surrendering almost like to God and let him come in so that he can do miracles. I was most fortunate last time when I went to Australia. I picked up this very, very interesting flute. Rarely you have a blowing instrument that can make more than one sound, but this one is like the perfect combination of yin and yang. And we would like to call this flute Vishnu flute. Okay, so let's see what happens.
Sit comfortably and turn your mind within. Focus our mind in the center of my forehead. I see tiny, tiny, sparkling light. Waiting for us to connect to it. That tiny little light, it has everything that we need. It contains everything we need. That tiny point of light is the source of our life. It is getting quiet, peaceful, from up above, where the source of the energy, the divine energy is coming from. We focus our mind upwards to reach that divine energy. It is also a point of light. It sparkles like a star, bright shining star. And it has warmth I feel connected. I feel I'm protected. I feel I'm not alone. I may be at home by myself, but this divine energy is always with me whenever we connect to Him. I look forward to connect to this divine energy so that I can find the real peace, the bliss and truth. It is showering my soul with so much love and wave. All my doubt, sorrow, worry, fear are washed away with that waves of rain. I am pure being. I go back to my original pure being with the help of this divine being.
Thank you so much to the whole family there, to Harry, Ayako and Yuji, for taking us through that really beautiful experience of meditation. And I think what I will be taking away from today is, on the one hand, the message that you don't need as much as you think you do, that sometimes less is more, but also whatever your particular skill or talent is, to use that to become creative, to use your spiritual life to inspire that creativity. And you have become a living example of what can happen when you do that. So thank you to all of you for being with us for today's masterclass. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippa, and thank you very much for being with us. Hope to see you again soon.
See you again very soon. And thanks to everyone for joining us for today. I hope you've been as inspired by hearing the story of Harry and Ayako and Yuji as I have. It's been really memorable. We'll have another masterclass for you tomorrow, the next in our series of 21 masterclasses in new consciousness. I hope you'll be able to join us then. Until then, keep safe, stay calm, stay connected. I say Om Shanti as a greeting of peace. Take care. Goodbye. 21 masterclasses in new consciousness, new ways of thinking, being and doing for the new you. Pioneering thinkers from countries right around the world.